Today I'm going to tell you how to do the English exam, and I'm going to show you the sample exam with the answer keys. Well, first of all, when you have to take the exam, you have to read the instructions carefully. They are quite simple, but I'm going to remind you what to do. First, remember you have to take a black or blue pen with you because you only can use those kind of colors to answer the exam. The second instruction is that you have to answer only in the spaces provided in the exam, and you cannot use any extra paper. And then the last instruction is that you cannot use any kind of dictionary or artificial intelligence or mobile device. Not even the smartwatches are not allowed in the exam. So you have to basically use your own words. You have to show what you know, basically. Well, the exam has 5 parts. The first one is a listening, and it's got 2 points. The listening usually has only 5 questions, and they are multiple choice, which means that you have to choose the best answer. My advice is that when you do the listening, first of all, you have to read carefully all the questions and all the possible answers, and that you underline or highlight the keywords for each question and the answers. That way you will be able to guess or understand the questions better. The second part of the exam is called language skills, and it's also got 2 points. In this part you have 4 activities. The first one, as you can see here, basically asks you to write the correct form of the verb in brackets. Here basically you have to be able to use any correct tense that we have learned so far in the course. And in the second activity, you can see that you have to write the correct form of the word in brackets. This is called word formation. And basically here you have to be able to use suffixes or prefixes together with the word that we are giving you in brackets. In the third activity, you have to use a relative pronoun, and we will see that later, but this can be relative pronouns, but we can also ask you to record a speech, or we can ask you to use a conditional. So in this kind of activity, we can ask you any kind of grammatical points that we have seen. And then in the last activity, number 4, you have to rewrite the sentence that we give you using, in this case, a modal verb, but we can ask you to rewrite the sentence using another word or using a phrasal verb or any other kind of grammatical point that we have seen. Okay, so basically this part has 4 points about grammar and vocabulary. The third part of the exam is called phonetics, and it's got 1 point. In this activity, you basically have to circle the word that contains a different sound. This means that you have to read the 4 words in the same line, pay attention to the highlighted letter or letters, and discover which word has a different sound. I'm going to give you the examples here. I'm going to read the examples for you. The first line says A, any, B, wreck, C, her, D, enemy. And the different one is C, her, because it's got the sound and the other ones have the sound A, which is different. Now the second line has the sound of web in the first one, A. B is doubt, C is come, and D is debt. So here we can see that the word web has the B and it's pronounced, but the other words have a B written, but it's not pronounced, so it's silent. Then in number 3, line number 3 has the word A, that is chalk, B, could, C, salmon, D, soul. And the different one here is D, because the L is pronounced in soul, but the L in the other words is silent, it's not pronounced. Then line number 4, we have the word fished, saved, hugged, and enjoyed. And the different one is the first one, A, fished, because here the ED is pronounced like a T, and in the other words the ED is pronounced like a D, right? The first activity of the reading part is called true or false. In this activity, you have to say if the first and the second statements are true or false, referring to the text that you have read before. It's really important that you give the evidence, otherwise no points will be given to you. And it's really important that you use inverted commas if you copy from the text. My advice is that you copy from the text the evidence, because otherwise, if you write it in your own words, you might make mistakes, and you don't want to do that. So I think that the best thing that you can do is write true or false and then copy the evidence from the text. The second activity of the reading is an open question. You always have to be able to answer the question using your own words, because if you copy directly from the text, or if you give personal opinions about the question and you don't refer to the text, then you won't be given any point for this. This question is 1 point, so half of the point is for the ideas reflected on the answer, and here you have the ideas that you should reflect from the text. But the second part of the point, that's the other half of the point, is for the correctness, for the grammar and the vocabulary that you use. So it's really important that you practice to write short answers about these questions. And the third activity of the reading is an activity in which you have to read the definitions that you are given, and you have to be able to find a word or a phrase that means the same in the text that you have to read. Now, the very important thing about this activity is that if the definition is a definition of a verb, you are only allowed to give the infinitive form of the verb. This means that if in the text you have the past form of the verb or any other form of the verb, like the gerund, you cannot write that. You have to write the infinitive. Or you can also write the base form, okay? Now, the second thing you have to remember about this kind of activity is that if you are asked for a noun, you have to find a noun. If you're asked for an adjective, you have to find an adjective. Or if you are asked for a phrase that is a prepositional phrase, you have to find that. So it's really, really important that you know the type of word that you have to find by reading the definitions. And finally, the last part, the fifth part of the exam is the writing, and it's got 2 points. This is maybe the most complex activity because here you have to write a composition of between 120 words to 150 words. However, you have to know that if you write between 150 and 170 words maximum, you won't be penalized either. So let's say that you have to write between 120 and 170 words on the following topic. And what is the following topic? Well, you always have to answer 2 questions that are related. Usually they are quite related, and you have to be able to explain about those questions. It's really important that you answer these 2 questions well and in a balanced way. Otherwise, if they are not answered in a balanced way, or you miss one question, you see that you have the first assessment criteria that is called task fulfillment. So then you will be taken some points out of that if you don't answer some of the questions. And what happens if you answer something that is not asked here, or if you just don't answer what you have to answer and you answer something completely different, then no points will be given to the whole activity. So it's really important that you focus on the questions. Okay? Now, here you have a sample text, and as you can see, the second point, the second criteria of the assessment is language skills. This means that the grammar, the correction of these texts has to be good, okay? The third point of the criteria is that you have to use connectors, you have to use paragraphs. Now, all the green words, all the words that are highlighted in green are connectors, so you have to use a variety of connectors. And the last criteria is the vocabulary, and this means that you have to be able to use a lot of vocabulary and a wide range of vocabulary related to the topic of the questions, right? And that's all basically. If you have any questions about the exam, remember you can always send me a message. And if you want to look at the exam more in detail, you will find the same exam with the answer keys just here in the exam section of this subject. Okay, so see you soon, and I hope to hear from you if you have any questions. Bye bye.